about the power in our country and money when it comes to Eskom. Municipal debt to Eskom of over 70 billion rand may be completely written off. It comes as government is planning to take over part of the utility's staggering 400 billion rand debt. Now, municipalities will have to commit to very strict conditions, though, to get that right. Let's get the thoughts then of scholar activist Dr. Trevor Ngwane, always very outspoken on this. Dr. Ngwane, good morning to you. I appreciate your time, and I see you are back with us this morning as well. And a lot of people have been reacting to this, and I'm keen to get your thoughts on this, Doctor. Do you agree with this writing off the debt, or do you disagree? Good morning. Hope you can still hear me.
I can hear you, Gareth. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a good initiative to look at writing off the debt, given the crisis in which the municipalities are in. But of course, I think that the approach might be narrow and also too focused on money, because the problems of the municipalities are deep, Gareth. You know, they are structural, you know, including the fact that many of them are unviable financially. So even if you sort out the Eskom debt, they'll still be owing the water board or something. Yeah.
It feels a bit like it's a financial hamster wheel. It's a big debt hamster wheel, because you're quite right that the municipalities have got financial constraints, financial issues. So does Eskom. So if Eskom doesn't get the money, if Eskom doesn't get the write-off, how do they operate as well? It's just a big mess at the moment. So I don't know where we start unbundling this. I just use the word unbundling when it comes to Eskom. But financially, they need the money to keep everyone's lights on, but they also can't write off debt because they need the money, and municipalities can't pay the money. So where do we begin to get this right?
Yeah, it's a very good question you're posing there, Gareth. You know, if you look at the proposal to scrap the debt, it's a carrot and stick approach. So if you do certain things as a municipality, you'll be rewarded. But if you do certain things or don't do certain things, you'll be punished. So basically what is happening, our government is not approaching matters from what I can call a developmental perspective. They are using a neoliberal top-down approach. Can you see? So that is the problem. And when you do that, what happens is that eventually, you know, Treasury will squeeze the municipalities will squeeze the ordinary consumer, the resident. So, you know, the two elephants, I mean, these are government, state entities. The two elephants fighting the grass, that's us on the ground, will suffer. So that is the problem, actually.
It is a big problem, and one of the biggest problems is going to be this call, Doctor, if I understand correctly, as well, that it includes part of these commitments and conditions. It includes cutting off of non-paying users. Now, that's a very serious statement to make, because when we talk about non-paying users, obviously Soweto comes to mind as well. 5 billion rand debt there. Many people in Soweto not paying their power as well. We could see thousands, if not tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people sitting in the dark. What do you make of that?
Yeah, so that's what I mean by the grass getting stomped by the fighting elephants. But also to put the matter into perspective, Gareth, you know that Soweto gets its electricity directly from Eskom. So it is built by Eskom. But the question of the municipal debt, it's about municipalities who are actually, you know, middle persons between Eskom and the residents. So that's the issue there. So basically, you know, these municipalities have no. So their financial constraints stop them from being able to address their problems. So, you know, so that's why you have all these protests, people burning down councillors' houses, burning down, because basically in the end, Treasury says municipality squeeze the resident. But, you know, after COVID, you know, with the rising cost of living, many people simply cannot cope. And the municipalities themselves are losing revenue because of load shedding and other things. So, it's just a difficult situation.
And remember, this was a big talking point, and it has been a very big talking point probably since COVID and lack of income in various households. There are certain sectors of society, Dr. Ngwane, that I'm sure you will agree that you would have seen, are saying, well, it's simply a case, as terrible as it might be, if you can't pay for it, then you can't have it. What do you make of that sort of statement? It seems unfair, but do you see the other side of the argument?
Yeah, there is another side, because I just lost my point in my last statement, because I wanted to say that with the municipal debt, because in Soweto people say, it's just the ordinary residents, but there's also businesses in Soweto. But with the municipal debt, it has been shown that, government entities, departments, banks, factories, sometimes are not paying. So, it shouldn't be viewed as, ordinary working class people or middle class people are refusing to pay, but also, business entities, government departments are not paying. So, and in fact, when it comes to ordinary residents, even big business and those people are not paying, the courts don't agree that you must just switch off people. So Eskom has tried this, taking municipalities to court, taking the assets of municipalities, taking over their accounts, but the courts have consistently rejected this. I think it's only one case where Eskom won. So basically what is happening now is that the Treasury has realized that it needs another way. So it needs to incentivize. But my problem is that with the incentivizing is that top-down approach, which is not looking at the problem broadly.
And as I say goodbye to you, Dr. Ngwane, let's imagine for a moment, because it is true, we often have high-ranking politicians and influential people within government watching this show. They're busy watching you, Dr. Ngwane. What do you tell them to do? Just in closing, if you were in charge, they gave you a clean slate and said, OK, Dr. Ngwane, you advise us what to do. What do you tell them this morning before I say goodbye?
Yeah, unfortunately, those people are mostly ANC leaders. And I think the ANC has to go, because everything it touches turns into dust. But, besides that, I would say that they need to adopt a developmental approach. They should move away from the top-down, neoliberal, money-focused approach. And I think that they should sit down with municipalities, with residents, and try and figure out a solution with Eskom, rather than just using their control of the money strings to force people to do things, which in the end they won't be able to do.
I appreciate your time this morning. Scholar, activist, always a pleasure. Dr. Trevor Ngwane joining us this morning. What do you make of what the good doctor had to say? Do you agree, disagree? We'd love to get your thoughts. Please tweet us at ENCA. Give us your comments on that. We could very well use that maybe later in the day here on ENCA.